Welcome to Good Libations, which is our show about mixology. And as you know, we're kind of doing an adventure, a series of shows that deal with the joys of brandy, which has become a neglected medium for making drinks. And it's really unfortunate because brandy is an exceptionally good, I think, liquor to use as a medium or a basis for drinks. And probably one of the most popular drinks involving brandy and well-known drinks is an Alexander, a Brandi Alexander. And again, this is a drink that has kind of fallen out of vogue, but yet some people enjoy drinking it. It's kind of been eclipsed by Black Russians and White Russians as a dessert drink. But it's unfortunate because the Brandi Alexander has a bit more dryness to it, less cloying sweetness to it, even though it involves cream to cocoa. And people should try to make it more and enjoy it more for the sake of variety and also for educating their palate a bit more when it comes to dessert cocktails. So we're going to go ahead and make Brandi Alexanders. And again, the main ingredients are, of course, obviously brandy. And like I emphasized, this does not have to be some expensive top-shelf brandy. In fact, better, as I mentioned on previous shows, that you get a more modest brand that lends itself to mixing. If you use cognac or a really expensive brandy, it's purposeless. Those types of liquors are meant to be drunk by themselves, neat, or perhaps on the rocks, but they are not meant to be mixed with other things. Again, it's kind of like topping a truly fine, prime piece of meat with a bunch of sauce and gravies and other ingredients. It's purposeless. You're ruining the base flavor. But if you use a more modest, not so expensive brandy or whatever the liquor may be, it actually lends itself better to the ingredients of a drink. And a Brandi Alexander is mixed in a shaker, and cream to cocoa is used with it also, and usually heavy cream. And I do prefer to use heavy cream. Some people like to use half and half, but heavy cream is actually better. And there's also a style of Brandi Alexander that I might demonstrate on this particular show too, that involves pouring it so that it floats on the very, very top of the brandy and the cream to cocoa that has been shaken. But we're going to do, first of all, the conventional style of combining all the ingredients in the shaker. And usually a Brandi Alexander is topped with nutmeg. Some people like to use cinnamon, and I actually prefer cinnamon in most particular applications with drinks. But in this particular instance, using nutmeg is actually superior. So anyway, we're going to go about making our Brandi Alexander, another nice traditional drink. And I'm going to get some ice for the shaker. And again, we don't need an absolutely gargantuan amount of ice. We just need enough so that we can nicely shake the brandy and the cream to cocoa together along with the heavy cream. So we're going to do just that very thing. And again, the ratio is approximately 2 to 1. So we're going to put twice as much brandy in as we will the cream to cocoa. And if you want to use a measure, you could go ahead and use the top of your shaker if it is that type of a design, or you could go ahead and use a conventional shot glass. And all you do with the cream to cocoa is either free pour in half the amount of brandy that you did, approximately, or use the shaker and pour in half as much. Because we want the main note to be the brandy, not the cream to cocoa. Now, some people prefer a little bit more because they like that sweetness of the cream to cocoa. So for those people, if you want to add a bit more, don't add a ridiculous amount, because then again, you're going to obliterate the brandy, and all you're going to taste is that chocolate. So that's the proper ratio. And now we're going to go ahead and add our heavy cream. And again, to my way of thinking, it is better to use heavy cream rather than use half and half. And as a general rule, we only want to use about an ounce or even a half an ounce of this, not making it too pale and lacking in distinctiveness and character. And again, obliterating the taste of the brandy and the cream de cocoa. So here we go. Hopefully this will be subtle. A little bit goes a long way, but we'll be able to see more when I shake it and attempt to analyze the color. So we're going to go ahead and put the top on and shake it up. And I'm going to remove the top of the shaker just to analyze the color. Yeah, that looks about right. And you can use all kinds of glasses for a Brandi Alexander. Some people like to use an old-fashioned glass. Some people like to use the old-fashioned dish-style champagne glass. I personally prefer to use a martini glass because I think it displays the beauty of the drink. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to use a martini glass, and we're going to start to divest the drink in the glass. And it looks like I'm going to have to double up here because I didn't pour myself much of an Alexander. But that's okay. We'll kind of do this over again. We'll do the brandy. We'll do the cream de cocoa. And we'll do a hint of the heavy cream. We'll shake it up again so we get more of a decent serving. I try to be a bit more conservative when I do demonstrations and when I make actual drinks in terms of amount. That's a little better. And again, nutmeg on the top, I think, makes a lovely addition to the Alexander. And if you want to, you can get creative with the nutmeg and do designs with it and all kinds of cute things. Like some people do with cream de menthe and Irish coffee. They make a, shamrock. But at any rate, let's taste it to see if it's all that good. Oh yeah, that tastes exactly like it should. Because again, the brandy is definitely there, and the amount of cream de cocoa did not overwhelm it, which is very important. So the drink has a hint of sweetness, but it's not cloying and sickly. And I think that's very important because too much sweetness, even in a dessert drink, is definitely a liability. And just for the sake of demonstrating, I'm going to see if I can float some heavy cream on this, and I'm not going to attempt to divest the ingredients of the glass. I'm going to add a little bit more cream de cocoa, and again, this is only for the sake of demonstrating a float, hopefully, of the heavy cream. And I hope this works. If you want to float, as I've shown on previous episodes, heavy cream on the top of like Irish coffee, Kioki coffee, or any drink. For that matter too, I always think that having a black Russian with the cream floating on top rather than blended in like I did with the Alexander is more attractive. So we're going to attempt to do that and see if it works. It either will or it won't. And it kind of sort of did, so that you see a line of demarcation where the cream was poured on the drink. And again, it's a lovely way of making the drink appear, and the contrast is better if that would have been all dark ingredients. You would be able to detect it more. And the key is you have to invert your spoon and hold it at an angle and pour the cream over the top. And that way you'll be able to see that line of demarcation. At any rate, again, this is a lovely drink meant to be savored and enjoyed for dessert. Very, very nice with its subtle topping of nutmeg. And again, I want to emphasize we want to be sensible in our consumption, reasonable and moderate in our consumption of alcoholic beverages. Remember, it is not a compliment to the mixologist if you just down your drinks. Savor them and enjoy them and drink in moderation. We love our community and we want to keep our community safe and well spoken of and well thought of. So let's be careful and be sensible. Thank you again for tuning into another episode of Good Libations. I'm Ethel Andrews. I'm a mixologist. Thank you again, and goodbye.